Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Richmond City Hall. We're going to call to order the City Council meeting for Monday, October 27th, 2025. May I have a motion on the minutes?
Moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor, post carried. Madam Clerk, any agenda additions and deletions?
Thank you, Your Worship. There is one agenda addition. It's for item 10. This is the truck parking pilot program. There is an on-table memo that provides amended bylaws 10703 and 10720 for council.
All right, may I have a motion to approve the agenda with that change?
Moved.
Any discussion? All those in favor, post carried. So we're going to start off with a presentation and I'll come around there to make it. Yeah, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we have a special presentation to recognize two Richmond athletes, Cameron Rogers and Evan Dunphy, who represented Canada at this year's World Athletics Championship in Tokyo, Japan. So first of all, we're going to call forward Evan Dunphy, if you could come and join me. Wow. Oh, that's pretty impressive, isn't it? Doesn't weigh you down, no?
Not yet. Win a few more maybe and we'll...
Well, exactly, the marks fit.
Exactly.
Or Michael Phelps. Evan started race walking at age 10 and has been coached at the KJAX Track and Field Club by Jerry Dragomir. He's had physio by Mary Lou Lamy and strength and conditioning by Devin Goldstein. He was selected to his first national team in 2006, going on to compete internationally at youth, junior, and senior levels from 2007 until 2023, with many notable accomplishments. Now, Evan made history at the Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games, where he won a bronze medal in the 50-kilometer race walk. In Paris at the 2024 Summer Olympic Games, Evan competed in two events, including the marathon race walk mixed relay and a 20-kilometer race walk where he just missed another medal. But this year in Tokyo at the World Athletics Championship, Evan won gold in the 35-kilometer marathon race walk with a time of 2 hours, 28 minutes, and 22 seconds. So, Evan, congratulations on your gold medal, and we look forward to your continued success in watching you compete in the coming years. Okay, got it?
Thank you, Mayor Brody.
My pleasure, my pleasure. If you could have a seat, and we'll call you back up in a minute. So the other person we are honoring this evening because of their international accomplishments is Cameron Rogers. Cameron. Seems like with both of you, we've done this before, haven't we?
It's just comfortable.
That's right. Well, we'll keep doing this year after year. Yeah. Cameron was first introduced to track and field in 2012, and she quickly fell in love with the hammer throw. She began training with the KJAX Track and Field Club, working with Coach Garrett Collier, as well as Richard Collier and Mohamed Setara. Cameron made history in her Olympic debut in Tokyo in 2020, as she became the first Canadian woman to ever advance into an Olympic hammer throw final. Cameron has gone on to compete at the NCAA level, representing the University of California, Berkeley, where she won multiple national titles. She has also competed internationally at the youth, junior, and senior levels, winning gold at the World Athletics Championships in 2023. But we're not finished. In Paris at the 2024 Olympic Summer Games, Cameron won a gold medal in the hammer throw with a throw of 96.97 meters. Now, I'm just going to let that sink in. 76.9.
96 is coming. 96 soon. Soon.
Are you making,
This year.
are you having a good time? Anyway, it was a hammer throw of 76.97 meters. This was the first gold medal for a Canadian woman in track and field in 96 years and the first ever in the hammer throw. This year in Tokyo, at the World Athletics Championship, Cameron defended her world title and she won her second world championship in the hammer throw, breaking her own Canadian record and becoming the first Canadian athlete to successfully defend a world title in an international athletics event. So congratulations on your gold medal, Cameron, and remaining the reigning world and Olympic champion in your event. Okay, I'm going to say it again because you're obviously not satisfied with this. Congratulations on your gold medal, Cameron, and remaining the reigning world and Olympic champion in your event. We look forward to your continued success and watching you compete in the coming years. Okay.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations. So, in closing, the KJAX Track and Field Club has a long history of developing high-level athletes who have competed successfully on a world stage. 50 athletes have competed in various Olympic and World Championship games since the KJAX began in 1961, spearheaded by Doug and Diane Clement, who have joined us tonight. So on behalf of our City Council, I want to congratulate both Evan and Cameron and the KJAX Track and Field Club on their significant accomplishments at the World Athletic Championships in Tokyo. You have made your city and your country very proud. Let's hear it. So we're going to ask Evan and Cameron to come back and join us. We'll ask Doug and Diane Clements, as the founders of the KJAX, to come forward. And all of council, if you could join me out front, and we'll have a picture.
Thank you.
So you guys are right down.
Yeah, we stand in the middle.
Are we going to be straight?
Three first, and then
Sorry?
you
want
three of you first, and
Okay.
then you group together at the back. What do you think?
Well, just a minute.
Just tell us
One of just the three of us, I
Three
think,
of
first,
you.
and then
Okay.
And
Do
then
that,
everybody
do that
together.
one first.
Yep.
I'll go on this side.
Can I? Sorry.
I think we gotta give the medals to Malcolm.
Oh, I was fixing.
Yeah. I'll keep them.
Yeah. There we go.
To your left. All right.
Okay,
All right,
can
everyone?
everybody join us?
Yeah.
Here? Come on.
And then maybe we'll give the medals to Doug and Diane, perhaps.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
See if we give these three.
Yeah.
And we'll switch afterwards. I take Evans.
They're labeled, so.
Are we all in? Okay, you got it? Everyone's in? Just
Color balance.
Okay.
Municipal politics. Everyone's everywhere. Yeah, we're all everywhere.
All right. Where were we? So may I have a motion to resolve into committee of the whole to hear delegations on items on the agenda? All those in favor, post carried. Is there anybody here who wants to delegate on an item that's on the agenda? Anyone? Anyone? May I have a motion to rise and report?
So moved.
All those in favor, opposed, carried. Brings us to the consent agenda. Now, the tree referral response to the tree survival securities is now off the consent. But besides that, we have the receipt of committee minutes, the discussion on unsheltered sites on Crown land, Memorial Road name sign program, the recommendations to amend Richmond's demolition waste and recyclable materials bylaw, the proposed amendments to the traffic bylaw and consolidated fees bylaw for commercial truck parking, and the bike reuse pilot program review. May I have a motion to adopt those by general consent? Moved and seconded. Okay, Councillor Day.
Yeah, thank you so much. Item number 7 on the agenda is a discussion on unsheltered sites on Crown land. Well, we've all driven by Westchester Highway and number 5 Road and seen the camp out there with all the motorhomes. This is provincial land, and that's a real problem because we can't just go in and do whatever we want. We have sent bylaw officers, our CMP, fire department, to make sure that those folks are safe. but only twice have the provincial entities come to visit the site. So we're asking the provincial government to step up and do something because it's basically out of our jurisdiction. Number 8 is the Memorial Road Name Sign Program. I was alerted by a family here in Richmond that Francis is on the cenotaph, and so this family came forward and mentioned that they would like to have a poppy on the Francis road signs. Well, I really applaud staff for just getting right on this and making it happen really quickly. And so the family, I just want to let you know, I got a call today, are extremely grateful that their Francis Road signs will be embellished with the poppy sign. So they're very happy about that. Regarding number 9, the recommendations to amend the Richmond's demolition waste and recycling materials. So by law, we're supposed to recycle 70% of demolition waste, but we're actually closer to 85% on average. So we're going to change that 70% up to 80%, but I'd like to see us go to a goal of 90% because we're really close. Keeping in mind that 88.7% of the building materials recycled is actually concrete. So it wouldn't be that hard to make that 1% of wood be more recycled. And Eco Waste, who takes a lot of the debris, is in the process of a major expansion for recycling. So I'm excited to see that come ahead. That's off the agenda. And then the bike reuse pilot program. The reason the city does pilot programs is because sometimes somebody comes up with a great idea and we think, let's go for it. Let's see if we can make a difference. So we hired a company to come in and recycle or repurpose the bikes. There's many bikes. It was 500 last year. And it just didn't work out. Most of the bikes did not get repurposed. So this gives us a whole new program with that recycle in mind, whereby charities and organizations can sign up and come take those usable bikes and repurpose them themselves, maybe new oil on the chain and air in the tires, and potentially give those to families that desperately need them. But I would like to see staff put a sign up at the recycling area to say, need a bike? Contact one of these organizations, because that's what they're there for. But without the public knowing about it, they might not know about it. So anyhow, I'll be supporting that as well. Thank you so much, Mayor Brody.
Councillor Liu.
Thank you, Your Worship. I too will be supporting everything on tonight's consent agenda. I'd like to talk a little bit about number 12, and I have a question of staff on this one. We did this pilot and we thought that hopefully there would be more bikes that would be able to be fixed up and reused and continue to be used. But as we realized that most were actually really at the end of their life. I went through something similar. We had an old BMX bike at home. I tried to fix it up and, I ran all over town, found some parts all over the place, and those in town has one of those places where they strip off old parts, and anyway, fixed it. It still wasn't good enough and ended up having to toss the thing. But we are able to save some. According to what we're able to save is around 160 a year. Some are able to go to and be used at the schools to teach students how to fix them, and then after that they're given to the students who need them. And it was my understanding that the challenge with the schools was they needed to be able to also give the kids a helmet and a lock. And staff, you looked into this, and how much was it again for a helmet and a lock that we could procure those two things for?
Through your worship to Councillor Liu, it was an additional $60 for a helmet and lock.
Okay. And so, I think that this is something that we can probably support. So how many bikes do we think a year may or may not go to the school board?
Through your worship to Councillor Liu, we estimate about 25% of the bikes would go to the school district. So it'd be about 40 bikes per year using pilot numbers, an estimate around $2,400 a year.
Okay, so I'm hoping we can just make it a friendly that all the bikes that go to the school board, we can just send them along with a helmet and a lock so that the kids can get on them right away instead of, have to figure out how they're going to procure a helmet and a lock. And certainly we get a better price than they're going to be able to. Can we make it that friendly?
Is everybody okay with that amendment? Sounds reasonable.
Okay, thank you.
No, just a minute. If someone doesn't like that, we take it off the consent agenda and we'll debate it. Is anybody not on with that change? Okay.
I could certainly need more information than just passing an amendment.
Well, just a minute, hold on a sec. You want to take it off the consent agenda? Not yet. We've got a speakers list. You can ask later. Okay, Councillor Heed.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want
I'll
to,
take it that that is the motion that includes that.
so have we taken that off?
Not yet? Do you want it off?
I think we need to have a little bit of further discussion because I have a couple of questions too with regard
Okay,
to
so we'll
costs.
take, number 12 is now off the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to make a few comments regarding the unsheltered sites that are on Crown land. And I think we've got to put some of this discussion into perspective. I understand some of the people that are occupying these spaces, and I'm not going to delve into the situation as to why they're there. I'm sure they're there by varying circumstances, and they're unfortunate that they're in this predicament. And I brought this discussion forward at Community Safety, and it was with regard to the violence that seems to be occurring at these sites with several reports with respect to the one under the Oak Street Bridge, with people being threatened that try and walk through there, threatened with machetes, baseball bats. I'm also aware that they've got generators with wires all over the place under that bridge. And the one at 5 and Westminster Highway, they've even moved cement concretes in so people can't drive their vehicles in without them moving and allowing them. It's become a situation where it's uncontrollable. And when you talk to our enforcement officials, especially the fire department and even with our law department and bylaw department with respect to that and the RCMP, is they've got several violations under the fire code, which they're pursuing against the province. And I think it's just incumbent upon us, although they'll claim jurisdiction, but it's still within the city of Richmond, whether it's province land or not. We're the ones that are going to be affected by the behavior of these people. So I would really like to see us put some pressure on the provincial government to do it. They did it successfully on the north side of the Oak Street Bridge, where that was provincial land. We've got a lot of those people now that are congregating in Richmond, and these seem to be the most problematic unsheltered sites that we have based on the numbers, the individuals there that are certainly encouraging others to be somewhat not destructive, but forcing people to go a different way or moving them off and saying this is private property, etc. So, Mayor, I'm hoping we can get that letter into the province and that our staff can have some discussion with the province so we can deal with these two sites.
Councillor Hobbs?
Thank you, and through the chair. Well, I'll echo a lot of the comments Councillor Heed just made about number 7, the unsheltered lands. And I think that in a general sense, it's a problem in that it is so contrary to our own bylaws in the city if we were dealing with city property or private property. So it's very inconsistent. But over and above that, as Councillor Heed just mentioned, there are some very broad issues at stake there too for people that are using it, people that might wander through it. There's health issues, there's safety issues, personal safety as well as health issues. There's environmental issues with the garbage and the things that are lying around. And just generally, it's very inconsistent with how we operate in the city. So it is really important and incumbent upon the province to be a good partner and a productive partner, as they have been on many issues. And so I'm looking forward to us communicating strongly to the province to try to find a resolution for the people there and for the site itself. The last item I want to just discuss quickly has been mentioned by a couple people already, and that's number 9, Richmond's demolition waste recycling bylaw. We have a strategy involving a circular economy in Richmond, which is very important. And as been mentioned by Councillor Day, it's 70% and we exceed that. We're at about 85% right now, and I think that's excellent. One of the things I just want to mention is how staff went to, I think, great lengths to have consultation with the stakeholders involved in the construction business and therefore the waste recycling business. And this before us tonight is supported by UDI, and it's supported by stakeholders that are builders in Richmond and other stakeholders involved in this process. And I think what's really important is that staff have indicated in committee, where we had a really good discussion, that those stakeholders will remain involved in the process as we implement it and go forward to perhaps even higher percentages. So with that, Your Worship, I'll be supporting everything on the consent agenda. Thank you.
All right, Councillor Glanders.
Thank you, Your Worship. And yes, I will too be supporting everything on the consent agenda, and good comments from the councillors on the items. I agree with the discussion on item 7, the unsheltered sites. And, you know, things got a little passionate and heated in community safety talking about this. I was ensuring that our letter is going to include looking for solutions. I think I misconstrued passionate comments about the dangers of this site, making sure that we weren't considering everybody who's in the sites as one homogeneous group, because, you know, we have our Richmond people that are looking for housing, that are not causing any harm to anybody, and we want to ensure that, you know, the province is moving forward with affordable housing solutions and a continuum of housing care, and more resources for mental health, more moving forward with secure care for those who can't make good decisions for themselves and are at harm to themselves and others, and changes to the criminal code that will get repeat offenders off of the streets. And you know what our councillors were bringing forward was the criminal element that's come into these places, as it's already been mentioned, that it gets to this size and where people are becoming quite brazen. And we know we've been hearing that, I've been hearing from people that live near that Oak Street Bridge area that those paths at night that go towards that camp, you don't go on those anymore. And there shouldn't be any paths in Richmond where people can't go on anymore. So we really need the province to step up. Like others had said, when it was on the north side of the Oak Street Bridge, where it was visible to everybody, they took care of it right away. We need to make sure that the people that are more vulnerable in those sites where they don't have anywhere else to go and they just want a safe place to live, that they're being not being taken advantage of, and that they're not in danger, and that the public isn't in danger. So, you know, thanks for bringing it forward, and let's get that pressure going. And that's all for me. Thanks.
Councillor McNulty.
Thank you, Your Worship. I'll be supporting everything. Just want to follow up on that. We're saying immediate action, what have you, but I think we have to suggest solutions to them as well. Your Worship, we don't want drugs in Richmond, but there's drugs there. Okay, they're a big problem, and probably more so, and I think we got to continue to say we don't want drugs in Richmond. And our MLAs have really got to step. They've got the majority, and they've got to step up. We talk about housing. Okay, well, have we heard back from the Bach housing problem that we had, and the solution that we took, where we're going to build good, clean, cooperative housing for people and low income? And but what was the province's solution? They haven't done anything, haven't even come back to us with that. So I agree with everything in there, and I think requesting the action, but I think we need to have concrete solutions. And they've got the wherewithal, and they were proposed it before, and we've got to get it on the record for that. Your Worship, I will be supporting the Memorial Road name. Tomorrow, Public Works will be looking at the idea of putting banners up with those that have given their, paid the ultimate sacrifice for Richmond and for King and Country and Queen and Country. So we'll be talking about that tomorrow. So the name Francis being the son of the farmers that were over on Francis Road, it's appropriate that we correct that. I too want to support the amended demolition waste. On Saturday, we learned that Metro Vancouver is 65%. We're at 70 to 80, moving along, and I'd like us to be bullish, to be quite frank with you, and strive for 90. I don't think we need to wait. If we're doing good things, I don't think we have to wait for others to catch up to us. As a matter of fact, I think we should continue to lead and move forward. So I'm going to support it as it is,
but as it comes forward each time, I'm going to be pushing us to raise the bar for ourselves, and it gives us an example. It was a very interesting thing on Saturday at the Council of Councils. We talked about and we were in the first three with West Vancouver, ourselves in Surrey. We put water meters in, and 3 out of 22, Your Worship, lead and water meters. The rest of the Lower Mainland doesn't have water meters, and we're saving millions of cubic feet annually. Population's growing, and we're containing water meters, but the rest of them don't get it. So let's keep doing what we're doing with our water meters and that. So it's on. I have a question of staff, Your Worship, on item number 10 with regard to the traffic bylaw. We're going to look for 63 people to get their truck off the road. What are we going to do with the others on the list that want to do it, but we're not providing? Do we have a solution or a suggestion? Because I think the item has to come back to Public Works. I believe those 63 spots will be gone in no time. Thank you to staff. I'm thanking you for it. But I believe you're going to have more than 63 very quickly. So how are we going to handle that problem, which is a good problem to have?
Through Your Worship to Councillor McNulty, that's the part of what we're doing with the trial, is to find out what the uptake will be. And certainly if we have way more than expected, we'll bring it back to council and we'll try and find some more.
Well, for those out there, thank you. For those out there, especially with the big tandems and the trailers, get your name in as soon as possible. Get you off the road, off the street, and out of the residential areas. So it was good. Thank you very much, staff, for that. And thank you, Worship. I'll be supporting everything.
Yeah, just remember there have been a couple of applications that we have approved lately as a council, which talk about truck parking.
I didn't want to prejudge them yet.
Yeah, we're at least starting to scratch the surface. Councillor Al.
Yeah, Your Worship, I just want to ask a question on number 9 about the implementation of the demolition waste program. Now, in the report, staff mentioned that if we pass this motion tonight, they have to prepare bylaw amendments and then develop an implementation plan for council approval. And then on CNCL page 54, staff mentioned that the targeted effective date would be November 1st. So I just want to ask you, following up what Councillor Menendez mentioned, can we move it faster? How fast can we move it forward? Instead of November, can we do it in summer or even in spring?
Through Your Worship to Councillor Au, the one-year implementation plan was based on the industry feedback we received. Certainly, if council wants to proceed quicker than that, we could bring that back to our stakeholders, but it was clear feedback that 1 year would be appropriate for the businesses to catch up with that plan.
Okay, so how soon can you bring back the bylaw amendments and also the implementation plan to council?
Through Your Worship, Councillor, we have already started with that implementation plan and the bylaw amendments, so it would be very early into Q1 of next year, if not later on this year.
Okay, perhaps at that time we can consider whether or not we can accelerate the implementation date. Thank you.
All right, so we have taken number 12 off the consent agenda. So on the consent agenda, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. So we'll go to number 11, to Councillor McNulty, the Chair of Planning, to introduce number 11, the tree survival securities issue.
Thank you, Worship. This is there were 2 recommendations that came from Planning Committee, and I'll read them. That the approved pilot program for the on-demand irrevocable surety bonds be extended to include the tree survival securities. And that number 2, that the tree protection bylaw 8057, the amendment bylaw 10715 be introduced, given first, second, and third reading, and I would so move. And the only comment I'm going to make is staff have done this very thorough investigation of this and have recommended that 100% of the tree for survival security be released at the substantial completion of construction, as is outlined in attachment 1, and the security flow chart. And if you look at that chart, Your Worship, on the left-hand side shows success, on the right-hand side shows what you're doing. I don't think it could be any clearer than that. And I hope that this gets out to the various developers when they apply and they're talking about trees to see where you are. And whoever did that, staff, thank you very much. Very clear, very succinct, very directional. Doesn't take much to follow the path. So with that, Your Worship, I'm really not going to say any more because the applicant's not going to be penalized in the various instances, and long as they fulfill and comply with their permit. So this is a step, very positive step in the right direction, and probably, again, leading the municipalities of Metro Vancouver in doing so. So thank you to staff on that, and I will leave it open to any other discussion.
All right, Councillor Wolf.
Thanks, Your Worship. Yeah, I did attend the planning committee where this was discussed. I'm not on the committee, so I couldn't make an amendment at the time. But what I would like is to make just an amendment to a portion of this item. So where we're going from 90% of the securities being returned at build time and 10% a year later, I would like us to remain at that and not switch to what Councillor McNulty just highlighted, which would be the standardizing 100% release of tree survival security when the terms and conditions of the permit have been followed and retained. So I would like to make that amendment, and then if it's second, okay, then I'd like to speak further to it. Thank you. So I see this item as having kind of 4 or 5 different aspects. One of the aspects is the security release, the timing that I was just referring to. The other parts of it, which I'm totally fine with, are the security type. So that's to include in the pilot surety bonds. The enforcement stays the same. It's under our tree bylaw program. The responsibility slightly changes, where what doesn't really change. It just the change is from the responsibility being the developer and then handing it over and making sure the new owner is aware. But if there's no responsibility for the next year, then really there is no further responsibility. It ends at the time of the building. So regardless, I support those other aspects. I think the result is neutral, maybe unchanged, slightly beneficial to the builder. But from my experience, observing trees that have been planted in new developments, if they're not done well, meaning there's maybe no intention for them to be there long term, they can just be put in the ground, checks boxes happen, and the trees can die and they can be removed. That extra year, I have talked to our tree bylaw staff who have identified trees that have died within the year, and they told the owner that they have to replant them. That was part of them getting the approval to build. And so that, even though it doesn't happen in every case, for sure not, it does happen in some, and this overall, I think, gives us a benefit so that people do a better job at planting, so that the root system has a place to go, that there's water, that they're not planted behind this giant masonry wall at the front of the development. There's many things we can be doing better, and I think that year gives better education and a better outcome for the trees, and that's why I would like that one amendment to come through today. Thank you.
I'd like to ask staff about this. If we're going to make that kind of a change, don't we have to refer this back so you can consider what the changes are that would be necessary for the bylaw?
Through your worship, we have considered the amendments to the bylaws are attached.
I'm talking about the amendments that, the
yes.
changes that Councillor Wolf is talking about.
My apologies, sir. Yes, it would have to be referred back. There are probably some legal considerations of how you transfer the responsibility of the sureties to the buyer.
All right. So don't go anywhere. We'll hear from Councillors Day and Galanders, and then I think, well, we'll see where we go. Councillor Day.
Thank you very much, Mayor Brody. You know, I'm really glad that Councillor Wolf brought this up, because what I didn't think about is that the builder builds the house or the townhouse, sells it, and then gets his deposit back. We all know that brand new trees need attention. They need a little bit of water. They need fertilizer. And if the new owner doesn't take it upon themselves to do that, the success rate for that tree is going to be diminished. But my question to staff is, even if we went with the 90% at completion and 10% a year later, what kind of money are we talking here?
Through your worship to Councillor Day, if I may first address your initial question. New trees that are planted on site are subject to the development permit landscaping securities, which is separate from what is being recommended here today.
Yeah.
Those are still subject to the 90% and with a 10% holdback.
Okay.
So the what's being proposed right now and put on the table does not impact new tree planting. This is in response to the protection of existing trees on site during construction.
Okay, I didn't understand that. And can you explain the difference between, like, you've got two different kinds of fees. You've got the surety bond, and then you've got the security fee. Why is there two? And maybe explain to the general public what the difference is.
Through your worship to Councillor Day, one is like essentially a writing a check. It's a letter of credit, and one is that the other is a surety bond. It's a bond that should anything happen, is a promise to comply with the financial terms of the agreement.
It's like an insurance policy.
Yeah, it's a bond. Yeah, it's just like a performance bond. Yeah.
Thank you.
So, Mr. Reese, I take it you're saying that there's no need to make that amendment that has been discussed here, given the remarks as to why it would come up?
Through your worship, that's correct. In terms of the conversation, as it relates to new trees that are planted on site, those are covered under a separate security that is already subject to a 90% with a 10% holdback.
All right. Well, why don't you wait in case there's further questions. Councillor Galanders.
Okay, thank you. I'm a little bit confused now. So I was just initially going to say that it sounds like Councillor Wolf, I mean, this is kind of his area of expertise as far as trees and tree survival. And it was a really well thought out amendment, supporting most of it, but just wanting to do a little change. I think you presented it really well. If it needs to be referred back so we can look at it just to get this right, I don't think we're in any rush to do it, so I don't see any harm in doing that. But now I'm hearing that we don't need it, so I don't know. So
Well,
maybe
just why don't
Councillor
we
Wolf can.
have more of an explanation. Tell us again the different kinds of holdbacks or securities and why.
Certainly. So through the worship, when a development application or a development permit includes landscaping, that landscaping is secured through plans that are provided by the developer and ultimately backed by a bond, either through a letter of credit, surety bond, or cash, to ensure that the works are completed in accordance with those plans. Once the development is constructed and the landscaping is inspected, provided all material has been installed on site, and it's confirmed by the applicant's landscape architect that those plants have been installed, we draw the bond down about 90%, maintaining 10% of that money as a holdback to ensure upon 1 year that the works are still completed to the satisfaction of the plans. In addition, should the development include any conditions or requirements to retain existing trees that were already present on site prior to the development, those are subject to a tree security, a tree survival security. That is the focus of this report, the trees that were already present on site and ensuring their survival during construction. The recommendations of this report would include a 100% release of the security upon completion of the construction.
All right. I'm going to go back to Councillor Wolf. Given that explanation, do you still need your amendment?
Yes, so it wasn't clear to me that there was the separation of the 10% of the new trees, and that I thought this was kind of piggybacking together. So I actually feel even more that this needs to be done, because the significant trees, we've done great work in the past where we've said to the developers that their setback has to be in line so that they don't kill the
Counselor,
trees.
you've already spoken.
But this is new information, but you don't want it.
Could be. Councillor Galanders.
Thanks. Just a question. So just right now, there's a big mansion being built on Westminster Highway near, near Terra Nova, and the big cedar tree with the protective fence around it is clearly dying. So how does that relate to this situation?
Through your worship to Councillor Galanders, that tree is protected. So if as per the appendix flow charts, if it is found to be not sustainable and is dying, then remedial measures the security will be forfeited. If the tree dies, if there's remedial measures and the tree survives, then the securities will be refunded at the end of successful remedial measures. But if that tree is actually dead, then the securities will not be refunded, and that tree will have to be replaced.
But if it dies, but if it wasn't clearly dying during construction and dies a couple of years later?
Then thank you for that question. Through your worship, the tree protection bylaw is very, very strict. Should that tree die sometime after the refund of if securities are refunded, the tree protection bylaw kicks into place and protects that tree.
Okay. All right, so I'm gonna, this is on the amendment proposed by Councillor Wolf. All those in favor? Those opposed? So that is defeated with Councillors Al McNulty, Lou, Hobbs, Heed, and the mayor opposed. So with that, I'm going to call the question on the main motion. All those in favor? Those opposed? That is carried with Councillor Wolf opposed. The other item that's off the consent agenda is number 12, the bike reuse pilot program review. That motion has already been made as part of the consent agenda. So Councillor Lou, why don't you introduce your ideas and we'll have a discussion on it.
I'd like to make an amendment that the city provide a helmet and lock to bikes that are provided to the school board.
To the recipients of bikes provided to the school.
Provided through the school board.
Yeah. Okay, so you're proposing that as an amendment?
Yes.
So is that seconded? Yeah, okay, so that is moved and seconded. Is there anything further you want us to talk about that?
No, I'll just say that the city can obtain a lock and a helmet for $60. Pretty much nobody else can find them for that price, even if you have a membership at Costco and some kid coming from a high school can't get to Costco to buy that because they can't get on their bike and can't get to Costco. So I think we should, it'll just make it easy. We already support our Learn to Bike program to the tune of $80,000 a year. We're going to do this program up to $10,000 a year, another couple $1,000 making sure that the kids are safe and that they feel comfortable riding their bike to school, and leaving it locked in the bike lock completes our program and makes it efficient, effective, and meets our goals.
Okay, so we're on the amendment. Councillor McNulty.
Just a quick interpretation, why only the school board if eligible organizations are able to have those bikes as well? Why wouldn't we do it for everybody? A bike that comes out, if it goes to the Women's Resource Center or CHIMO or some other group, the helmet goes with them as well.
Yeah, we'll go to Councillor Lou for an explanation.
What I was thinking is, with all these other organizations, they have different sources of funding that they can tap into and access funding, and they can provide the helmets and locks for the same thing. And they may be giving them to people who aren't necessarily riding them to school immediately. That they can deal with it themselves. If they want to come to us for city grants, that's up to them. But I think if we want to get this moving right away with the schools, supporting the school right away makes the most sense. Everybody else can come, they have other sources of funding.
All right, Councillor Heed.
Yes, I just had a question for staff, and Councillor Liu alluded $2,000, but what is the general impact of this? And then what Councillor McNulty said, if we added those other groups that would require, what's the roundabout impact?
Through your worship to Councillor Heed, utilizing the numbers that we got through the pilot program, bikes that were collected for reuse or repair was around 160 bikes. So assuming all of them are donated with a bike, or sorry, a helmet and a lock, that would add an additional $10,000.
And that would cover all of the groups, not just the school.
Through your worship to Councillor Heed, correct, using estimates based on our pilot program.
You know, if we're going to do this, I would look at fairness across the board because, you know, we've got these other clubs, these, you know, kids are part of CHIMO, you know, most parents are going to buy their child a bike. We know that, but we know there are families in the circumstances they can't. And if we're going to look at this, I would want to expand it more than just the school. I would expand it to all of those groups that you guys, you know, fix the bikes or give the bikes to with respect to this. I just can't see us just portioning out one because we want them to ride them to school. We want kids to ride bikes everywhere. You know, counselors often talk about them going to the multi-use pathway or, you know, those things. I think we've got to look at it a bit further than just the school.
Just on that point, before we had this discussion about helmets, et cetera, the cost is going to be about $10,000. So you're saying we would double the cost, about $20,000.
That is correct.
All right. So now I'll go back to Councillor Liu. You've heard the discussion. I realize you have your hand up. I'm going to go back to Councillor Liu. And let's clarify the motion. Given the remarks that have been made, would you want to say just all the bikes will give a helmet and a lock for an extra cost of $10,000? Or do you want to leave your amendment motion the way it is?
I'm happy to move it to 10,000. If it fails, then we'll try it again at 2,500.
Okay, so, all right, so unless there's a problem with that, the amendment will be that we're going to give helmets and locks to all recipients of the bikes under this program at a cost of $10,000 in addition to what's in the report. Now, does anybody have a problem with them? I'm not saying you don't have to vote in favor of it, but does anybody have a problem with the amendment being constituted that way? Councillor Day, you have a problem with that?
Yeah, you know, we can make something so simple, so complicated, over and over and over again here in City Hall. When it comes to the tracking.
Do you have a problem with us changing that?
Yes, because we don't have answers to the question. The question is, do we know for sure that there'll be 160 bikes? Do we know for sure that everyone will need a helmet?
I just asked you if you had a problem.
Yes, I have a problem with it.
Okay. So then I'm suggesting that we vote on the amendment the way it is. And if it passes, it's done. And if it passes, you can still make another amendment to go to the other recipients. So on the amendment that is on the floor, which is to give locks and helmets at a maximum cost of $2,400 to the school board recipients of the school board bikes. Okay, is anybody wanting to speak to that? I've got Councillor Galanders, your hand is up. Do you want to speak to that amendment?
Yeah. This is what we're discussing.
There you go.
I had my hand up. I want to talk.
There you go.
So I'm just really confused about this cost. So it was 160 bikes a year, we're assuming. At $60, that's $1,600. So where are we getting 10,000?
No.
The
60 times
10,000,
100.
the 10,000 is if you provided locks and helmets to everyone.
160 bikes.
Yeah, we fixed about 160 bikes. Out of the 500 that were dropped off, 160 were able to give away? Oh, 9,600. What happened with my calculator? I'm an accountant. Oh, no. Okay. All right. So this is a lot of extra costs. I mean, we're doubling the cost of the program. I'm just thinking,
Not yet. You're only adding $2,400 under this amendment.
yeah, okay. So just hear me out. I'm just thinking that a lot of people already have a helmet and a lock, and their bike just broke and they're gonna get another bike. So we're assuming that everybody needs a helmet and lock and they don't necessarily need it. So I'm just worried about being wasteful. I mean, if we can get the deal of $60 and a lock, why not just offer that to people who need it? You know, and we have this great lock and helmet price for $60, and we could even give it to people who request it, but why are we just giving it away if we don't even know that they need it?
All right, Councillor Wolf.
Yeah, just in support of the general motion first. So we just have to look around and see how many users of the Lime bikes are not wearing helmets, partially because the helmet there they feel is inferior or doesn't fit or was worn by someone else. Where I think these bikes, if we're giving them a bike and it's going to be like their main part of transportation, maybe new to them, that I think giving a bike and a lock are a great combo set to provide. I do, like Councillor Galander's, like if they don't need a helmet or we give them the wrong size helmet because people's heads are very different sizes, even though they're in the same grade. And so the other part of it is the locks. Just on the weekend, I was removing Blackberry, and where the bushes were removed, there's a bike. And funny enough, on the bike was a sign saying free. So somebody put a bike out for free, and someone took it, and they don't have a lock. They didn't care for it. So I think right away having a lock invests you in the product. And you want to take care of it. Yes, albeit locks get cut all the time in front of schools. So it's not 100% security, but still at least it gives a little bit more of that ownership and pride and care over the product. Thanks.
All right, so I'm going to call the question on the amendment. The amendment is, at this point, $2,400 locks and helmets to the recipients of the school board. Okay?
Can I move another amendment after?
After.
Okay, all right.
Just a minute. Okay, so all those in favor of the amendment? Those opposed? It is carried with Councillor Galanders and Day opposed. So I would, if I can just carry on from there, please don't go yet. So we are going to add all the other recipients at a cost of, I think, if I'm correct, $7,600. Sorry? 76. Yeah, we passed 24, total was 10, and now it's 76. So that's moved and seconded. Further debate, any further debate on that? All those in favor, okay, just a minute, Councillor Day.
Staff just told us 160 bikes, $60 is $9,600, not $7,600.
We already passed 2,400 to the schools. It's just the extra groups now.
Okay, we're going to call the question on the amendment for all the rest of the bikes, the non-school bikes. All those in favor? Any opposed? That is carried with Councillors Galanders and Day opposed. So we have now added 10 grand to the cost. We've added locks and helmets to all of them. All those in favor? Those opposed? That is carried. So that brings us to the public announcements. We have an informational session tomorrow night, Tuesday, October the 28th. It's been all over the media. Richmond is holding an information session tomorrow, Tuesday, October 28th, to discuss how the BC Supreme Court's August 2025 decision in Cowichan Tribes versus Canada could affect land ownership within the areas covered by the ruling. The session begins at 7:00 p.m. at the Sheraton Vancouver Airport Hotel. It's open to the public, but landowners in the area that is affected by the claims are going to be asked to sign up if they want to speak or make comment, and there will be a limited time for them to make those kind of comments. So if you want more information, visit richmond.ca/Cowichan decision. Then we have Halloween coming up and the Fireworks Festival. Halloween-inspired events and programs are happening across Richmond all week, leading up to the Fireworks Festival at Minaroo Park on Friday, October 31st. The festival runs from 6:30 to 9:15 p.m. Will feature food trucks, carnival-style games, and activities for all ages. The fireworks begin at 9 p.m. So for full details, visit richmond.ca/Halloween. And then we have Bat Week. It runs from October 26th to November 1st. Richmond is proud to be recognized as a certified bat-friendly community. Bats play a vital role in our ecosystem by pollinating flowers, controlling insects, and spreading seeds and nutrients. To learn more about these important animals, visit bcbats.ca. Madam Clerk, bylaws for adoption.
Thank you, Your Worship. There are 3 bylaws for final adoption with no noted opposition.
Discussion. All those in favor, opposed, carried. And on the development permit panel.
There are 2 recommendations. Recommendation 1, that the chair's report for the development permit panel meetings held on September 12, 2024 and September 10, 2025 be received for information, and that the recommendations of the panel to authorize the issuance of development permit for the property located at 3200 No. 3 Road be endorsed and the permit so issued.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor, opposed, carried. Someone move adjournment. We are now